All right, recording the session.
All right, welcome to Sprint 14. So this was a 3-week sprint that we did over the last 3 weeks. So we picked up more points than usual. And our burn down chart looks pretty good. I think most of the stuff, there's nothing left in the to-do and everything's either in progress or completed. I think there's some stuff that's in progress that actually is done. We just haven't got around to testing it yet. So that's great. I'm going to go over a little bit of the traffic summary for the last 3 weeks. So for BCMI, pretty standard. And I've just kind of noted that most users are actually getting to the site via a search engine like Google. That's how they're landing on the site. Epic, again, pretty average page views. And recently, there's actually more people getting to Epic via social media. And I figured that out, and I went, and EAO's Twitter account has recently got a bit more active, and they're actually linking straight to Epic. So that would explain why. LNG traffic, about the same. The spike on the 18th was due to that meeting that we had with Darren, and that's why the page views are so high. And for NRCED, the term bathville was very popular for some reason, which I think is a place. But there was several different records that had bathville in the record in some way. Okay, so our goals and accomplishments over the last sprint. So we fully released BCMI to production. So Amy and Harpreet, you guys are in there now, fully using it as normal and publishing mines. I think all 30 mines that were on the existing site are now available on BCMI. On the new BCMI with the connections to Core and Epic. And I know you guys are working on the additional 40 mines to be posted there shortly. We are still in progress of moving Epic to OpenShift 4. That one was sort of put on hold because we didn't have enough storage. And we recently decided that, and it was suggested to us that we move to S3 for Epic. And it turns out that it shouldn't be a crazy amount of work to do that. So we are going to try and move Epic to an S3, or our Epic Minio documents to S3, so that we can move to OpenShift 4. We also automated our certificate renewal, excuse me, for the LNG site, so that was completed. We are almost complete the wildfire role in NRPTI. So I think Morgan, you're going to demo that today, but for the most part, that's completed. There's just a couple things that need to be done on that one. We also have completed the BC Oil and Gas Commission imports to NRPTI for NRCED and LNG site. So that the BC Oil and Gas Commission, our Epic for that is done. We've completely got all those records now. And finally, one of our goals was to investigate making some connections to the CORS database and the ERA database. And I think we did a good job of, we met with the one team and kind of figured out how we were going to make those connections. So thanks to Kristen, thank you for helping us with that. That was really good. It seems possible that we can make some direct connections with working with the one team, so that's good. All right, our demo today, we are going to, I think Morgan, you're going to demo the wildfire service role. So this is a role that is going to be an NRPTI that's going to be used for the BC Wildfire Service users. The purpose of it is so that they can log in and manually upload their compliance and enforcement records to be posted onto NRCED, and on the rare occasion posting compliance and enforcement records to LNG or BCMI. And I think you're also going to demo what you did for our hackathon on the map. So I'm going to stop sharing and I'll pass it on to you.
All right, make sure I got all the right screens ready here. Okay, yeah. Make sure I have the right roles assigned. That one. Okay. All right, can you see NRPTI? Oh wait, I should go to, I'll just do, oh yeah, I should go to test. means I need to make sure my roles are right in test, and they are. Okay. So right now I have given myself only the public role, which everyone in the system should get, as well as the admin wildfire role that we just added. So as admin wildfire, the only menu item I should see on the left here is all records. Normally there would also be imports and all mines if you're a BCMI user, and maybe news activities. One thing, as Jessica mentioned, there's a couple little tweaks we have to do. One is remove this import box if you're the wildfire user. And yeah, so now we'll go view some records as a wildfire user. We could see a couple records were created as part of some testing yesterday, both as wildfire users. So for this, we can see, because wildfire created this record, they're able to see the person's name that order was issued to. And any company name has also been made public. So any role right now can see the company's name if they've been issued something. Now, if I wanted, wildfire role only gets access to 2 records to manually create: administrative penalties and orders. So I'll go in and create one. Issue today, cease. And none of the menu options in here are limited in any way. The only spot that's really limited to the role right now is which records you can actually add or create. And I'll issue it to an individual. And I'll make them a teenager. And we're also able to link to an Epic project, bing, or a mine. And that's coming from our list in the database. I won't add any documents or links, but that's also an option here. And we could, as a wildfire user, choose to publish to NRCED or LNG as well. Save that record. And now we see we've got someone Beth as a new record. Now, if I were to come in, I'm going to switch my roles here and come in as just an admin NRCED user to show that we redact certain things based on whether or not you have a certain role. So refresh here. So now we can see, as an admin NRCED user, I get access to the imports page as well as the communications page, but still not the all mines page, as that's, you need admin BCMI to see that. Now the redaction here does not seem to have worked.
Yeah, I think so. The NRCED admin user actually won't have it redacted, so they'll see all the individual names. But if you had done it opposite NRCED role, putting the name in, the wildfire user would not have.
Okay, so I'll create a record like that as NRCED user.
And the reason for this redaction on the individual names is part of the privacy policy for different ministries going in here. So BC Wildfire Service is only allowed to see the personal information of their own records and is not allowed to see the personal information of other agencies' records. So it's quite a bit of logic that we had to do over this last sprint to figure out exactly how to do that in the system to make sure that nobody was seeing something they weren't doing.
In. Now I will switch back to wildfire. Make sure I'm actually in the right key cloak. That has tripped me up a few times.
Yeah, yesterday I accidentally was giving Nicole roles, and I kept giving her and taking her roles away, thinking it was myself. And I was like, why isn't this working? Yeah, so that record, it's not even there because it wasn't published.
So they don't have write access, so they can't even see the record. And I think that's about it for wildfire roles at this time. We just have a few more tweaks to make around solidifying the redaction rules for the different roles to make sure things are hidden when they should be. So I'll be working on that later this afternoon. And yeah, that's it for wildfire.
Yeah, any questions on that one? It's going to be our first of many roles. So this was our first time trying to make roles. We have a bunch of other business areas that want to get in there to manually upload data because they don't have any source system. So we're trying to get, I think our next one is probably going to be a ministry environment role.
Yeah, I'll share my screen again and I'll show what I did for last Thursday's hackathon.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I like, working with maps since I did a geomatics degree at UVic with a combined geography comp sci, and these days all I use is the comp sci. So any opportunity I get, I like to try and do some map stuff. Usually that's hobby work outside of work, but for the hackathon, I thought I would add the ability for a public user to come into the website. So the general idea being, public user comes in, they want to get notifications about certain projects within a certain area. So to that end, I added the draw tool to Leaflet, and the user would be able to draw a polygon around an area that they want to get notified about. Limited it to one shape for the time being. It's easy enough to make so they could draw multiple polygons if they wanted, but this was partly to make it a little easier on the back end to limit and prevent abuse. That would be nice to do ahead of time for Epic, as well as maybe get rid of some of the workarounds we have in the map code currently. Those could be resolved now. I don't really have time to get into the API work. The API side of things would take a little more care and thought to actually implement in order to prevent abuse, since there is no login required for Epic's public sides. So it would be easy to get swamped with people signing up for these email notifications. The general idea being we'd create some kind of materialized view per project in Epic, running that gets updated based on a cron job, say once a month. It looks at the list of users who have signed up for notifications about that project, and it would send out an email with the Ches email service to notify them of any comment periods, new documents, or news activities within that area that they selected. But the main concern I've got around actually implementing this is, the security side of things and preventing people from just abusing it and knocking over the API or database. And that's about it.
Yeah, that's awesome, Morgan. I think, and it's cool because we could probably use the same thing across all of our products too.
They're all Leaflet based.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, Morgan. I'm gonna share my screen again. All right. So some other work I wanted to mention that we completed this last sprint, like I mentioned before, is we found a potential solution for connecting our products in OpenShift 4 to some Oracle databases. So we're going to attempt to work with one team to try to make that possible for the CORS database, for NREST, and for ERA. We also figured out a potential solution for moving Epic to OpenShift 4 by getting an S3 bucket for it and using that to store the documents. turns out a large quota in OpenShift 4 actually takes the space of 4 other projects, which didn't seem fair for us to do that. So we're going to try this suggestion instead. We also made some updates to BCMI. So Amy and Harpreet, you guys will notice that we updated, it should say Emily and all the static text instead of EMPR now. We do have another ticket in the backlog to change it in collections from Emperor to Emily. The new AMP and the new offense prosecution should be up there shortly. We're going to try and push to production today, so those should be up on the site soon. We also had a discussion on how we want to delete records from NRPTI. So both in regards to deleting manually entered records from our system, if we wanted to do a soft delete or a hard delete, and how we wanted to show deleted records from source systems. So if core deleted a record, how are we going to reflect that in NRPTI? Or if there's a deleted record in NREST, how are we going to show that in NRPTI?
We do have the deleted indicator. Do we not send that to our API?
I don't think we're reading it yet, no.
Great, okay.
So we might come to you guys with that request.
Yeah, I think I spoke with someone on the team briefly in channel, and they said that's not exposed via API at this time.
Oh, we definitely should. Great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think, yeah. Because at the very least, we should be able to, if a record's deleted, pull it down from the public sites. We did a bunch of bug fixes this last sprint as well. And then Nicole has been working on doing some user interviews with users of all of our different systems for some planning sessions for January, for some sort of what's next over the next year of work for Team Falcon. Oh yeah, I've updated the BCMI success criteria because we're now finally in production. Almost all of these ones are done. The only one is the new mines being added, which I think you guys are well on your way doing. So we've got the 30 on there currently, and I think aiming to have the additional 40 in the new year. So that's exciting. For NRCED, the success criteria, I've been trying to update this. I might start using, Kyle's made some really cool metabase reports, which I might start using in this instead of this. But you can see even just over this last sprint, so our sprint in November to now over the last 3 weeks, we're now, there's like 3,000 more documents being posted to NRCED, like 11,000 more documents actually in NRPTI, or sorry, records, not documents. We have an additional business area now showing compliance and enforcement data, that being FLINRO, because we're bringing in the NRIS FLINRO inspections via CSV now, which is again, I think why these two have increased so much as well. And we're increasing the number of source systems we're getting data from. So yeah, the NRIS FLINRO inspections. And to update this, so this was our last sprint. This is our list of our goal of all the different pieces of data we want to get into NRPTI for NRCED. So this was last sprint. And now you can see this sprint, we've got a bunch more. So we've, the BCWS or the BC Wildfire Service role is going to hit these two because they'll be able to upload orders and administrative penalties. These ones are almost done, but I have them in progress here. And then we've completed the BCOGC data. So this one can just be a big check mark off. So we'll continue working down this list for the next 6 sprints or so. Any questions on that? All right. So our next sprint is going to be another 3-week sprint because of the holiday. So we're going to go, I think, from today until January 6th. Or wait, is that right? January 6th? Yeah. And I think most of our team's on holidays, so we're going to be focusing on technical debt across all of our products. And then also getting the NRS Environmental Protection Division importer to be run on a nightly schedule, like some of our other imports. So this is the upcoming work for the next 3 weeks. And then back in January, getting into the NRCED stuff again. And that wraps up our sprint review. Yeah, I think most of our team is on holidays coming this Friday or Thursday. I think Mark and Daniel, you guys are around, and I think Morgan, you're around for a week. But other than that, I think the most of us are back January 4th. Yeah, any questions for anybody?
Jess, I guess this kind of goes without saying, but I just want to say it anyway that next sprint review, there might not be a demo because it will be mostly technical debt stuff. So just to let our participants know about that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
But we will still have a review and they're welcome to join. Okay, I'm going to stop recording.